Hey guys, Llama here with a very peculiar puzzle today. So today we will be looking at the Pentacube. This is a cubic minx-like puzzle. I don't know really how to describe it, but you basically have these outside edges which are independent from a free spinning internal layer. I got this cube off of Z-Cube and I've seen some other people have them. They have stickered versions, which I'm very jealous about. But the stickerless doesn't look too bad. I'm not the biggest fan of the colors, but I'll live. This puzzle is very interesting because it has two different stages to solving it. So you have the cubic side that you need to solve. So you need to solve the four corners, which I solved like a 2x2. And then you have to solve the internal, which I solved like a Megaminx, or like a Gigaminx internal. To give you a rundown of this puzzle, just some of my thoughts about the actual puzzle itself. This is from Z-Cube, so I got it for a couple dollars, which I can't really complain about. It's a very nice puzzle. It turns super smooth. The internal is super smooth as well. The puzzle can be a little funky to move just because of how it is. However, it does have capabilities of corner cutting, which makes it really nice. And if I can do it, let me see if I can. It's not going to do it now. But if you pop it, it's perfectly fine because it's a very durable puzzle. Of course, as soon as I want it to pop, it's not going to pop. But basically, when you pop it, it's going to have one of these edge pieces, one of these corner pieces, and one of these edge pieces pop out. But they're super easy just to slide right back into place. But having that little bit of, well, actually, apparently it's a lot of corner cutting, but having that corner cutting makes it really easy to do in comparison. Because otherwise, you're going to have to line up every single one of these edges every single time. It's just going to be a pain. In this video as well, I also wanted to show you guys how to solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it up real fast. I'll time this real fast. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and consider this scrambled. It's probably not the best scrambled, but this is kind of a not really obnoxious puzzle to scramble, but it's not the most fun just because of having to constantly readjust the edges. So if you're going to have the scrambled, definitely recommend giving it to a friend and being like, yo dog, scramble this cube for me. And they are going to probably flip out a little bit and then scramble it for you. But let me go ahead and go into how I solve it. So I basically solve it like a normal 2x2 using the beginner's method because I find that that is the easiest. So like right now, I have two white edges over here, and edges, your centers don't matter. You can finish the centers anytime you want because since they're independent, the edges and the centers, you can just do your edges and then worry about your centers after it because they just shift around the cube. So currently right now I have a single white, green, and red corner right here. And luckily I have a red, blue, and whites right there. So if I go ahead and push this guy over, I'm going to basically solve it like a 2x2 using the white face first. So I'm going to put this guy down, and now I have half my first layer done. So evidently I have also my orange, green, white right here, which I'm going to put up. And if you know how to solve a 2x2, you can skip all this and go to the next part. But I wanted to show people that might not know the 2x2 that might have got this puzzle as a gift. And I will link in the description a 2x2 solve guide as well. Just a PDF, just so in case you don't know how to solve 2x2 and you want to learn 2x2 before tackling this puzzle, then you can, because puzzles are very fun. I highly recommend it to anybody. So we now have our first layer done. So I put all three corners into place. So now what we can see is that we have basically the headlights pattern of a 3x3 or a 2x2. So you can use, if you know Ortega, use Ortega. I am not going to use Ortega because it's so weird trying to do it with this puzzle that I use Sue because it's just too much of a struggle trying to get all your pieces properly aligned every single time. And luckily, like I said, corner cuts pretty well. And I will put up here any of the algorithms that I use for this. So now we have reverse Sue, which I'm still not going to do just because it's such a... You get lost very quickly on this puzzle, to give you an idea. because since you're doing so many things at once, trying to line everything up, it's very easy to get lost. So I highly recommend using just Sue for your OLL, unless you're just that confident that you know the algorithm. Or if you're looking at the screen where I put the algorithms, you can also look at that. So as you can see right now, I'm currently on last version of Sue, and I need just to do this one last one and I'll have my OLL done. And as you can see, I'm constantly shifting the cube around because I'm changing these pentagons, which is what I'm not really sure what the official name of this cube is. I've been calling it the Pentacube. You can call it the Star Cube. You can call it the Demon Cube. You can call it whatever you want. And it looks like, once again, we got a PLL skip. Last night on stream, I had like 6 PLL skips, and I had 0 that were timed. Go figure. So once we have that done, we can go ahead and do our centers just to go ahead and solve them, because I prefer to solve them and then orientate everything. So like I said, this is just using it like a Gigaminx. The nice thing about this though, you do not have any kind of issues with your edges. Your edges are completely different from any other part of the cube. So as you can see, when well, there's a pop right there. So like I said, very, very easy to put back in. Just shove it down in, and then the other guy just pops right in. Super, super easy. But right now I'm doing my green. So what I'm doing is I use more of a 5x5 method of doing... Hear my dog scratching. But I use a 2-block method for this. So as you can see, I had already made my center, my edge right here. So then I made up this 2-block edge, which I also have one way up here, which I actually plan to put into place. And as you can see, I'm slowly able to build my centers together. And my edges have not moved a bit. So this is a lot of intuition right here. Once you start, if you know how to do a Gigaminx, you're going to know how to do this part. But as you can see, I'm turning the cube in a way to where I'm not going to mess up this other layer, but I can still put them into place. And my biggest recommendation is when you're doing your edges like this, unless you need to cross to these sides, do it on one side, because you've already got this turned and you're not going to have to constantly readjust the cube every single time, which I have found to make this cube a lot easier. So another 1x2 brick. Gonna put that out of place and then slide it right in to make this bigger chunk. And that's basically my whole method of this, is solve it like a 2x2 and then solve your chunks. But I wanted to show you guys a full solve just so you can kind of get an understanding. And if you're big into minxes and know how to solve the Gigaminx, you will already know how to do this. So you don't have to watch if you don't want to. But it never hurts to help understand the cube. And I will put I'll put timestamps down the bottom for you guys. So in case you want to see just one part of it, you can go ahead and just slide on over to that section. And I call this part just filling edges, or filling centers. So you have 2x2, filling centers, and then you have orientate your centers. You don't have to orientate your centers if you do it properly. However, I find it a little bit easier for myself to go ahead and just orientate the centers at the last piece, instead of trying to focus on the 2x2 and focus on where I'm putting everything, just because of how odd the slices work on this puzzle. Because as you can see, I'm constantly having to change these slices back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And boom, so currently we have 3 centers done. And what's nice is that you're never going to have a point to where you're going to have a complete mess up of how your centers run. They're always going to be in a position where your centers and your edges are very easy to manipulate around, as you'll see in a little bit. So I'm finishing up. I have one layer left to do. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up like this, just so I don't need to try to readjust again. So I'm going to put it, So if another little bit handy tip, if you put your edge piece, I like to put them right next to each other or opposite each other, wherever this gap's at. Because once you do that, if you put this in a place, you can actually turn it to where it's going to match up right here. And I use that for 5x5, and it works wonders for my commutating. Because it's just a simple little rule that I follow that has such a massive effect on the puzzle. And now we're currently on the last center, which once again is just more commutating. So it's going to be a lot of intuition, just understanding what you're doing. Also, it seems that I did not put something back, which is pretty lucky because it wasn't that bad of a mess up. So be very mindful about that when you're doing this, to always put back what you've broken. Because as you can see, I didn't, and I could have almost messed up the whole puzzle. So currently we have a very, very easy set to finish. So what we're going to do is our blue and our green are finished. So our white, orange, yellow, and red are not matched up to our white, orange, yellow, and red. So very easily, we're just going to do a R2, and then we're going to go over here. We're going to put them all into place. As you can see, we've solved the cube, and then we're just going to do an L cube, an L2, and you have solved the Pentacube. Like I said, very, 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 very fun puzzle. I've been loving this thing. It's a very unique puzzle to give your friends. It's very easy to solve once you kind of understand how the centers run. The outside, very easy, just 2x2 method. So basically, I'm going to put the steps kind of like right here of how I solve it. So basically, 2x2 method for your corners. Well, actually, I'll go a little bit more detailed. So do your white edge, or white side edges. Then you're going to do your OLL of your yellows, and then your PLL yellows. Then you're going to, if you haven't already, you can do your centers first if you want as well. I don't, because I'm going to mess up anyways, and it's just less to worry about. So next you're going to complete your centers, and then you're going to orientate your centers. So overall, the cube is a ton of fun. Hopefully you guys find this pretty helpful and find this cube not as scary as you think it is. I've had a lot of people talk about how scary this cube looks. I don't want a cube. I don't want this cube. But I'm hoping that you guys really do enjoy it, because it's a very fun puzzle. It's very unique, and it's very cool to show your friends. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to come hang out live Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. CST, over at my Twitch channel, which is going to be down below. And if you want to join the Discord, have any more questions, want to ask some questions, want to hang out with some other cubers and other gamers, come and hang out. That link's in the descriptions below as well. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.